Can you hear that? Hear it? Hallelujah, hallelujah. That's the choir singing the hallelujah chorus because hallelujah. We've got blue sky. We've got a day at least of no rain. Tomorrow, not looking so good. So I am going to get up there. I didn't even go home after work today. I went straight here, got the bus out, had a look at those doors. I got the front one to close, but the back one, there's something wrong. There's a magnetic switch in there somewhere. I don't think it's air. I can't hear air leaking anywhere. Anyway, I want to try and get at least the back and possibly the front of this bus with 2 coats of paint on it before it gets dark this afternoon. I'm going to go and get my stuff out of the shed. Let's get stuck straight in to another episode of Steve Stuff. So got a bit of sanding, a bit of masking off. I'll mask around both those windows there and start sanding. This is quite thin. You can almost see through it from the other side. But my first dilemma is this. There's one on either side. I can just tape it up, but if I take it out, I can clean it up. It should be stainless and nice and shiny. So I might just drill out those rivets. That one there is going to be a pain. I hate it when they snap off there. There's one on either side, so I'll do that before I start anything. Well, it also looks like Eggins did it properly and took them off before painting. There's the original Eggins cream, which we're doing. And then there's the Sydney blue underneath it. So that's one off. I'll just give this a sand and I'll mask up while I've got the ladder around this side, and then I'll go and take the other side off. All right, well, that just took way too long, but you can't really rush masking. If you do, and you do it wrong, you end up with a rubbish job that looks terrible with only yourself to blame. Happened to me once when I was painting a car. I still can't look at it up close. Don't mask and drink. Anyway, I'm going to get paint on that now. Skies look ominous, but there's no rain in those clouds. But there is apparently a cold front coming through probably overnight. So I need this paint to be dry before that happens. So that's just a quick light coat, first coat. I don't want to go too heavy on the paint or too heavy on the roller marks because I want to come back around in an hour or so when it's starting to tack off and put a second coat on there. It's looking okay though. I'm trying to think what else I can do while I've got a wet roller. I did think about maybe going up there and masking and trying to come around the front, but I'm not going to for 2 reasons. One, I just need to double check. I do have a trace of that sign writing, but I need to double check that it's correct before I paint over what's left of this one. And the other reason is the masking took ages last time. So if I waste 40 minutes masking that up, it's 3 o'clock now. That'll take me till 3:45, you know, half an hour to paint, and then I'm going to run out of light to go back around the back. So I'll leave that. Maybe tomorrow I'll get a chance, although the showers are forecast. Or that could be a job for later in the week. What I can do though is this. I'm going to replace all of these old nuts, and I can take that off. I can mask up that rubber and paint that the cover of the box and also around there. So I might as well do that while I've got wet paint and brushes and rollers. I keep thinking I can feel raindrops, which would be a disaster. There's nothing in those clouds. Well, but you know when you see a bug and you start to itch? I think it's kind of that mental thing. maybe I'm just the mental thing. Probably going to upset the purist replacing these old screws, but I mean, they're rooted. They're all hacked to death. They've been cut and, you know, messed with, and they're rusty. I couldn't find any flat blade dome ones to go back in. I've had to go Phillips head, which will probably upset some more people, but what can you do? Oops, don't wreck my new thingy. Yeah. Hello, you gorgeousness. Because this is at eye level, I'm just going to treat these holes. I'll get some high fill on those just to make it look a bit better. If it was up high, I wouldn't bother, but it's down where people can see it, so I don't want it to look like a rubbish job. See what I mean? Just to fill up those raggedy little holes a bit better. I'll give them another sand, another coat of that, and then that'll do it, I think. These replacements that I bought, they're too long, so I have to cut a beesdick off the end of them like that. So if you ever need to cut a screw, not so much a self-tapper, but a screw that comes with its own nut, best way to do it is put the nut on it, get it to where you want to make the cut, hold on nice and tight, safety gear on, cut that, now the reason you leave the nut on there is that when you cut, if you've damaged any of the thread, the nut will fix it for you. So just, you know, turn that a few times. You can't see because of my fat fingers. Turn that a few times over the area that you've cut and it will fix the thread up for you. Top tip, that's one coat. See if I can get a second one on it before I go. And I also tidied up, wire brushed, cleaned up around the edges of that box. It gave them a paint. I just went up the ladder and checked to see what the paint's like. It's still a bit tacky. It's not quite where I want it to be. Luckily the sun's just come out from behind some clouds and it's got full sun on it there now, so if I give it another half an hour, I might be in a place where I can get a second coat on that quick. I want to say thank you to Jason as well, who's been watching the videos. They're those other strobing lights I bought. I was going to test them out on the reversing box, but I'm actually really quite happy with the way the reverse box has turned out, so I might leave those. But Jason's actually sent me some inverters and some fluoro holders and some number rolls. They're out of a later model bus, but they are still very handy and good to have. So mate, thank you very much, I appreciate it. It's all about the attention to detail. Now when they go on brand new fresh paint with some nice new rivets, they'll look good. And just these, the wire bits that go underneath it, I might just give them a quick with some chrome paint. Bob's your auntie's live-in lover. There we are. You know, just little things like that. That didn't take long, 10 minutes. Just a paint stripping wheel on the grinder. Got all the corrosion off and a quick spray with paint. I mean, that's going to look great. They're going to look really good when they go back on the bus. Well, that sun's done the trick and dried up that paint nicely, so it's time to get the second coat on. Not happy with the way this roller's going. It's old, it's dried off a little bit and it's starting to drop fibres, so I'll go and get another one. Feeling like maybe I shouldn't have done that second coat, not because of the weather, but because I think I rushed it, because I've got the weather living in my head rent-free. Look at that big buck up there looking like it wants to land somewhere. Piss off. So that's what we got done. The other thing I'm worried about, I've noticed a couple this afternoon. See that big liquid amber tree up there? Right where I park the bus? This thing. It's dropping furry little seeds. They get all in the rain gutters of all the buses and everything, and they love to stick on wet paint. So I'll nose the bus in tonight to try and protect that wet paint from those furry little seeds. G'day. Sunday morning and it's raining. It has rained all night. No surprises there. It was forecast. A cold front came through. It's moving pretty quickly through, and my local forecast says where I am right now, this rain should stop in about half an hour and we might get a dry afternoon. Might get some more work done as far as painting is concerned. Otherwise, I'm pretty happy. Everything's dry inside except for a little bit upstairs again, which I'm just going to have to live with, I think. The other bus leaked in spots. I just couldn't, you know, it's the windows, I guess. So I've got a few inside things I want to do. I also want to put I ruined one of the riv nuts in the reverse box yesterday. I stripped it, cross-threaded it, so I'll replace that. And yeah, got a few little touch-ups and things I can do inside, and then if the weather does clear, I do have to get the bus out because I've got to get up there on the ladder and get all that masking tape off. So another day, hopefully productive day, work to do, so let's do it. There's that section of floor apart from my wet footprints, and also apart from the step where there's still the odd drip coming down from up there. She's nice and dry, and most definitely not the wet mess that it used to be. So I'm going to kick her in the guts, Barry, get her out and get stuck in. Oh, I'll show you the areas I'm talking about up here that I can touch up. See, there's things like this. Now I'm quite happy to leave patina like that, but I think this doesn't create a very good first impression. If you think a member of the public gets on, they get on this through the centre door, this is the first thing they see. So I think I've got the paint, the correct colour from the other decker. I might just paint this and down here and just tidy it up in a couple of places. There's that as well, and that side. So a little bit of stuff I can do inside while it is wet. Very happy to come up here and see that that is all dry. So problem fixed there, hopefully the same in the box, the Desto window. And I just had a thought up here, where this little bit of water is getting in, and there is still a little bit of water dripping in through that window. It's sitting on this and then getting down through there, and that's what's dripping down below. I think I might put a bit of sealant along there and stop whatever water's getting in here getting any further. See there? If I can't fix the drips from coming in anymore, I can certainly stop them from getting further down inside the body of the bus. So there's a job for today as well. Paint has dried before it started to rain last night, which is great news. None of those liquid amber seed fluffy things have stuck on it. The rain overnight softened the tape up for me, so that came off really easily. And that's a good job done. I'm glad I got that second coat on last night, and that means I don't have to remask any of that. That section is finished until I come along to do the stripes. What I've done here, and it's my own fault, I've always been warned about using a battery drill to screw and unscrew things. And I can hear him saying, "I told you so," right now. But this last night, I tried to tighten it up. It wasn't quite straight. And I've actually stripped the inside of the riv nut. Same thing happened here. Managed to get this one out. There might be just enough meat left on that I can get another one in. I'll just try and hammer down the ridges that are lifted up. This one won't come out. So I'm hoping I can get in there with the tap and die set and re-tap it gently, gently, just so it'll take the screw, because at the moment it won't. So it's also started to rain again, which is annoying, but I'll just try and get this done, see what happens. And that's a no, because as soon as I get it in there tight enough to bite, it just starts turning like we saw. So if I can get the riv nut machine doodad in there, I might be able to pull that out and tighten it. Otherwise, I'll have to think of something else. Idiot. Well, that just took longer than it should have, because I had to end up lining up holes again and drilling out holes to make them bigger, because I got a new riv nut in here, but it was over a little bit, so nothing else lined up. Anyway, it's all in there now. I also just put see that rubber there? Instead of squirting silicone off to block water getting in, because I'm not finished with this thing yet. I still need to get in and out of it. It won't be completely finished until I finish painting the rear of the bus. So I'll just put that rubber gasket, if you like, in there just to try and stop water getting in for the time being. Another little indoor job I wanted to do was just to put a piece of trim along here, just to finish off that bit of floor. See the trim stops there. So just to match the stairs, I've bought a piece of that, just cut it and just kind of test fit it there, tidy it up, and then that'll finish off that. There we go. Just tidies up that little area a bit better. Now let's have a look at these little areas. This here, I want to tidy this up. So I'll just give it a bit of a light sand, and then I've got the paint ready to go. I'll mask up and see how it looks. And most people probably won't even notice. It's just surface rust really. So I'll do this white colour first. I'm not a coach painter. I don't know how to get a good gloss finish off a brush like those coach guys do in the UK. They're crazy, so talented. Kind of get it on a bit thicker this time and then roll the roller up and down. But I'm thinking of coming back and using this brush and roller again. I just keep them wet, so I just wrap them in one of these wipes. I've got the roller that I used yesterday to do the outside paint. It's sitting in the shed, wrapped in one of these, and it's still usable. Before I go sanding that front panel there, where the sign writing is, I just want to double check that I've got the stencil. I stenciled the front eggins off another one of their double deckers that we found on a farm. This one. And I stenciled that, and I've got that stencil. So I just want to check that it's right. It would appear that the stencil is smaller than what's up there. I could not let it bother me, but it does. So, I'm going to get up and stencil that one. Making more work for myself. But it's got to be perfect or I'll know. As luck would have it, I can't do it because the tracing paper I need is at home. Now, home's only 10 minutes away, but there and back, I'm going to lose half an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the edges and mark it a bit better so that it's easier to do when I can do it. And I might, depending on how busy this place is tomorrow and on the weather, because we've got forecast rain all week, I might be able to come down with the bus parked. I could just get up the ladder and do it. We'll see. But I'll do this now, and then I've got another idea for a job I can do while it's dry. It's really hard to see. I'll take you up and show you. It's faded so badly, it's really hard to see what does what, but that seems to be the main body of the letter, and that is in red. And then I guess there's a gap that will be in the cream, and then around the outside is the same trim colour as that. The hard part is following this trim colour and to see what it does. So yeah, there's a little bit there. There's something in the middle of that. I'll do the best I can. I think between doing this, what I've already got on paper from 1138 and photographs that I can zoom, enlarge, I had less to go on the Merlin, let's just say that. So I'll keep going with this and hope it works out. I was going to video me doing that and I forgot to press record. So that's what I've come up with. There's some pretty fancy shadowing going on there. The guy that they had do this stuff, I've forgotten his name, I've actually met him. He's still kicking around. He's in his 80s, I think, or early 90s. And he did every single bus by hand, freehand. Hopefully that doesn't wash off tonight. And I'll come in the morning and get a trace of that. Between the two and photos, I should be able to work it out. Here's what I've done with that little bit of tidying up I've done on the edge there. When that white, the top, dries a bit better, hopefully today, I'll just drop a bit of masking tape on that and tidy that line up. But I did the blue, I just kind of blended it in, I just kind of tapped it on. I didn't go too hard with the roller or anything, just to take your eyes away from the fact that there was rust there. So happy with that. I went over this side lightly just on the edge here, and it's tidied it up. I'll leave that there, and I want you to tell me what you think of that, the entrance there. Should I tidy it all up and make it look nice and almost brand new like I did with 1128, or should I just leave it because it's only original once? Let me know in the comments. I was thinking about getting up and doing the stripe, and then I saw that. and no more blue sky. So no, that's it. No more painting on the outside. I'll get up and start sanding around the front though, except for the part where I've just done the tracing. Actually, another thing while I think about it is I need to try and get this mirror off to refurbish it, obviously, because it looks terrible. But also I need to get it re-mirrored. What do you call that? The silvering on the back of that's all gone. When I drove the bus last week, it's actually, I don't know how Adam managed to bring it all the way down from Maitland with a mirror like that, because you can hardly see anything out of it. But I'm thinking if I pull it apart, I can take it home with me when I go home in a couple of weeks. And there's a guy up there that did the Merlin ones. I'll just get him to do it. I just came for a walk around to see if I could put any tools away, and I've just noticed, see the rainbow there? And I had a little look and I could see some moisture just around the fuel pump. So I have wiped everything down, and I'll come back later and see if there's a weep there. I mean, because of all the water lying around, that could be just one little drop of oil that's created that, but it's concerning nonetheless. There's nothing really obvious. Maybe just a little bit of engine oil there that's just seeping. I mean, this bus doesn't leak anything, even when I've been sitting here on the concrete all day like I do. When I drive it away, there's nothing, there's no oil drops or anything. So that could be just 1 or 2 drops of oil, and then it creates that rainbow effect because it has been raining and the water's been running. Fingers crossed, eh? I'm just going to give this, the threads, a quick wire brush. Hopefully it might help loosen them. It's just a nut top and bottom, and if I can get those nuts loose, that the whole rod should slide out and the mirror should just come away, in theory. I'm just about to cut my losses and put the bus away. I'm worried about that little oil diesel leak there. I don't want to be going getting air in the fuel lines and being stuck out here with an unprimed fuel pump. So I want to show you something though before I go in there. The centre door was supposed to close because it closed for me, but now it won't again. So, intermittent fault with a switch up in there somewhere. Bugger it. That would have made my day. Anyway, I've got to stick her away. Well, I certainly made the right call on painting. It started to rain again and it's just been sprinkling ever since I put the bus away. So I thought, just before I go home, I might get into this horn button system here and see if it's the actual button or there could be a relay down in there that's making the horn stick on. So to test it, I've got to get underneath, reconnect the horn and then turn the battery on. If the horn comes on, we've got a problem with the relay. Horn reconnected. Let's open the batteries. No horn. Door did slam open though. Righto, interesting. All right. So there was something smooshed down in there in that switch. That's all it was. I'm just looking at this little fella here. He's got a bit of bare wire there. The other fella is nice and tight. This bloke, he could easily short out onto the body of the horn button. I think that might be what it is. So what I'll do, I can't really pull any more of that through. I'll just get some insulation tape. So I pulled that wire tighter in, got it further in, all the way up to the insulation into that block, put it all back together and job done. Actually, you know what I've just remembered I've got, and I've been putting off until I fix that button? Come with me. I got a jerry can of diesel. Well, it's empty. I'm going to get some diesel. I was going to get some on the way here today, but forgot that the jerry can was actually here. Look what I've got in here. It's been sitting in the car ever since it arrived from Amazon. That will sound more like the original. Let's see if we can get it in. And that's going to be a no. Way too wet under there. Too dark to see what I'm doing. That's a job for another day. Right, the last thing I'm going to do before I go home is get in here and just run a bead of sealant along that. See that seam there? I think that's where water's getting in. And maybe along there as well. We've got a week of rain forecast. And there's still little drips coming out of that, as you can see. And when there's enough rain, it just drips and it's dribbling down into the bottom of the bus, and I want to stop that from happening. So I'll just do this, then I'm going to pack up and give myself an early mark today. Not pretty, but I don't want it to be pretty, I want it to work. So we'll see how that goes. If it does work, I'll come up here and pretty it up. Some paint or something. What are your thoughts on that centre bar there? Should I come up here with the paint like I did downstairs at the stairs? I think that looks awful. And people sitting up here, this is the first place they run to when you get into a double-decker, straight up to the front seat. So I'd like it to look nice. I think I've answered my own question. I've also found another spot I need to get one of those rib nuts in. I had to cut that off and that'll wobble and rattle. So again, not a job for today, maybe through the week. Well, it's late in the day, not as late as usual for me to leave, but I'm going to give myself an early mark, maybe go home, watch a video, have a bath, wash my hair, whatever. I've packed up. I feel like, again, like last week, I wanted to get things done and I didn't. Did get a little paint on, happy about that. Got a lot of jobs done, you know, worked my way through the list. A couple on here that I haven't done yet, but still, I think it's been a productive weekend. So happy with how she's looking. I was thinking of going for a drive again this afternoon, but now that I've found that there could be a little leak coming out of the fuel pump there, I don't want to until I can work out what's going on there. It might be just a weep. It could be something more sinister, so I'll ask around and find out more about that. You can see here, I'm trying out the black steering wheel button now. I had this one, in fact, I think this is the one off 1128. I like this, but I do like the alloy one that's on there as well. So I'm trying out all your suggestions. There's a cream and a blue. We'll do that as well. Got this done, so I'm happy about that. I feel like I'm neglecting the Merlin, and I kind of am, because I can't do anything with it because there's no radiator in it. These people, and I'm going to name them now, Natrad in Granville in Sydney, have had that radiator since January. The last I heard, it had gone to Adelaide, and there was a guy that was going to recast some new tanks in aluminium. He got one done, he got sick. I don't know what's going on, and I'm starting to get annoyed, and I'm starting to think about other options. Maybe I can get an intercooler place to come and measure it up and make me one, you know, bespoke. I don't know. If you know anyone that works at Nat Red Granville, or I think it's Paul is his name, can you find out for me, please? Because that bus has been sitting there without a radiator since November when I took it out, and it's now July. Tomorrow's the 1st of July. Not good enough. Anyway, next weekend hopefully will be better. It's my last weekend. After that, I've got a family commitment I've got to head up home and see, so I'm going to lose a couple of weekends there. So next weekend, if the weather's better, try to keep going with the paint. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying. I'm over 700 subscribers now. Try and get me to 1,000. Tell your friends. Thanks for staying the course. Like and subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next time. There's a Facebook page too called Steve Stuff. There's early warnings about videos and whatnot on that as well. So until next time, I'm going to do a little bit of this, head home and have an early night.